Greetings, humans. You have entered the Command Zone, your destination for all aspects of Elder Dragon Highlander. Enjoy your stay.
The world is a vampire. Sent to Dre. Sacred destroyer. Hold you up to the flames. And what do I get? For my pay. Betrayed desires. And a piece of the game. All right. Even though I know, I suppose I'll show all my cool and cold like old Joe. Despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage. Despite all my rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage. Why is that song called Bullet with Butterfly Wings?
They don't even say the words Bullet with Butterfly Wings once in the song.
It should be called The World is a Vampire.
Or Rat in a Cage.
Oh, Rat in a Cage makes more sense, you're right.
Yeah. But we're on the Vampire for this episode of the podcast because, what's up, everybody? You're watching / listening to the Command Zone podcast. My name is Jimmy Wong.
How's it? It's Josh Lee Kwai. We're definitely getting demonetized for that one.
If we
It was too much of the song.
Yeah, and it also means that we were accurate enough for the thing to go like,
oh yeah,
these people are playing.
So we're fine.
Yeah,
we're fine.
I mean, if it does happen, I'm very honored. The world is a vampire, though, because the Lost Caverns of Ixalan are almost here, and it comes with 4 brand new precons, including the one that we're going to be revealing every single card from today, including the brand new cards, talking about the reprint value, all that good stuff, dishing the numbers, crunching the numbers, and dishing it out to you. Here it is.
Yeah,
Blood
it's Blood Rites, the vampire-themed precon.
Blood Rites. Yeah, really exciting stuff. But before we get into it, if you want to pick up this precon for yourself or any of the other 3 brand new precons, 4 in total for the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, head on over to our sponsor, cardkingdom.com/command. They've got a huge selection of cards as well as sealed products, all of your Magic card needs in a single convenient place. And that's not the only thing that's single and convenient. You can also get a single convenient package of all your cards in the mail when you order your whatever you're getting. So if you're getting precons plus a little cards to spice it up, and you want it all to arrive at the exact same time, well, cardkingdom.com/command is your place to go. Not only do they have a great selection of cards, but you can also support the show while you're doing it. Why wouldn't you do that?
Also, got to say, I'm not sure, because we're recording this early, exactly how much of Lost Caverns of Ixalan has been spoiled, but this set looks very powerful.
It does not just look... just from the cards that are spoiled.
We played it a little bit for some of the cards. Yeah, they're impactful. So if you want to get your hands on that, for sure, cardkingdom.com/command. And then, of course, once you get your hands on those cards, you want to protect them. You want them to stay in pristine condition. The game accessories brand that Jimmy and I, we trust our own cards and collections to, is ULTRAPRO.com/command. They make sleeves, deck boxes, playmats, and they have all of the theming around the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. So if you want to get let's say you want to get this Blood Rites deck, and this is Clavileño is the character name. Well, I've got the Clavileño playmat here in front of me.
Nice.
We've already sleeved this deck in the, show them, Jimmy, the Clavileño sleeves. There's a Clavileño deck box.
Yeah.
And they've done this for the other commanders and other cards in the set. So if you really want to theme out your battlefield, if you want to make even the room you're in look awesome, they got wall scrolls and stuff like that. ULTRAPRO.com/command. They got everything you need. They'll protect your product. They are just the best.
Yeah, the Lost Caverns of Ixalan has some great, really colorful, vibrant art. You can also see with this playmat I have here. Like, you want to get in on this. If you want to get some product, now's the time to do it. Real quick announcement. We have a TikTok.
We've started a TikTok.
Yeah, right on time, right when all the kids are doing it.
Yeah, we're just
a little bit
late. We're at the
late.
front of the trend. We're actually, it's actually because of us.
TikTok before.
It's actually because of us that all the kids are on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've been doing a lot of like YouTube Shorts on our Instagram and YouTube as well. You may have seen. So TikTok is another foray into the social media world. If you're on there, you can find us, and the link, of course, will be in the show notes below.
Yep. And then finally, if you want to support all of our content directly, you can go to patreon.com/commandzone. Our patrons get to join our community, interact with Jimmy, myself, Rachel, the whole team on our Discord all the time. They get all kinds of perks like seeing game nights and extra turns earlier than the general public. We have exclusive content on there that only the patrons get access to. So if you want to join our community, support the show, patreon.com/commandzone. And of course, another perk that patrons get is we shout out one lucky patron every single episode. And this episode is dedicated to Wyla Skinner. Wyla. You rock. What a cool name.
Yeah, sounds like it could be a Magic card.
Yeah, it does, totally. Wireless Skinner.
Yeah, they're skinning
Cunning Warrior.
Yeah, and skinning things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
They're like a wily skin. Okay.
They're probably not a vampire. Maybe.
Oh, yeah, they could be. Yeah, maybe. Skin, vampire.
Wila is a vampire.
They get a custom song, too. That's another Patreon bonus. All right, let's get into it. Everyone wants to know what is in this Precon, and that's what we're doing. Now, this is not going to be an in-depth analysis of new cards, nor a budget upgrade guide. That video is coming later. This video is just to show everyone what cards are inside here. So we're going to talk about the new cards. We're also going to list every other card so you get a full idea of it and talk about all the cool stats and stuff. But these Precons from this set, they all have 10 new cards each. And 2 of them are legendary creatures. One that's on the front of the box and one that's sort of like a backup commander, but they both come in sweet foils.
Yeah, we got the lead singer and the backup quarterback.
Yeah, the backup quarterback.
That metaphor worked.
Yeah, who almost never plays, so hopefully...
But you always root for, because your quarterback's not doing great, and the backup quarterback always looks good as a result. Like,
yeah.
Just put them in there. They might do
you
better.
Never know. They've been practicing, right? Right? All right, the lead singer, though, of this deck is Clavileño, First of the Blessed. It's 1 white and a black for a 2/2 vampire cleric. Whenever you attack, target attacking vampire that isn't a demon becomes a demon in addition to its other types. It gains, when this creature dies, draw a card and create a tapped 4/3 white and black vampire demon creature token with flying. All right, so this is an attack trigger. Anytime you attack, doesn't need to just be Clavileño. It could be any creature on the ground. You can choose a vampire when that's attacking, and they become this special demon. When they die, you make a 4/3 flyer instead.
Kind of cool. It gives like a little bit of protection almost to your creature.
Yeah, or upgrades them.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of 1/1 tokens running around in vampire decks, and now they have the chance to become a 4/3 demon.
Yeah, and vampire decks we know like to kind of go wide. They make a lot of 1/1 vampires.
Yeah.
And that always leaves you susceptible to board wipes. So if you got this trigger off a couple of times and you stack some dice triggers on a couple of your creatures, all of a sudden...
Yeah.
You could be like, oh, you board wipe me, but I still have, 4 or 5, 4/3 flyer demons now, which is, now I'm just going to kill you with those.
Not bad, yeah. It also probably makes people not want to block your attackers as well, knowing that they can upgrade into a 4/3. So you can just get them for that, because they're like 1/1s with lifelink and stuff.
And of course, if you have like sack outlets and things like that, you can, choose to just upgrade the stuff on the spot. You don't have to wait for your opponents to kill it. One thing I want to note is it says whenever you attack, so that's the trigger.
Yeah.
You're not going to get more than one of these per combat. It's not like for each player you attack, you get one. Yeah, so you're without some help from, well, I won't name the cards because they're not in this deck, but you won't get more than, one dies trigger demon turned in or vampire turned into demon per attack.
Yeah.
You get one and that's it. Okay.
Demonic.
All right. The backup quarterback is Carmen, Cruel Skymarcher.
Oh, they're in the marching band. That's why they're not playing.
They're on the bench a lot, so
yeah.
They practice, yeah. Carmen, Cruel Skymarcher is 3, a white and a black for a 2/2 vampire soldier with flying. Legendary, of course. It says, whenever a player sacrifices a permanent, put a 1/1 counter on Carmen, and you gain 1 life. Whenever Carmen attacks, return up to 1 target permanent card with mana value less than or equal to Carmen's power from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Ooh.
We like battlefield better than hand.
Yeah, returning up to 1 target permanent could be any permanent in your graveyard. And
it could be lands.
Could be lands. Yeah, sneaky white ramp, as you like to call it.
Yep.
The player sacrificing stuff, making it bigger, I've found that it doesn't actually happen as often as you think, especially if it's like a 5-mana card, because oftentimes it's like, I always find that earlier turns.
Oh, your fetch lands have already been played.
Fetch lands, yeah, because they're the first lands out of your hand.
You might get like, one
or two,
but in general, you're going to have to make your opponent sacrifice things by playing eating effects, probably, right?
Oh, yeah, that's actually a great idea. Instead of waiting for them to just hopefully have like an Evolving Wilds, you're playing something that makes them sacrifice a creature.
Honestly, you could not even care about the sacrificing thing, because the only thing you really get out of that is Carmen gets bigger, but you could make her bigger just by putting a Sword of Feast and Famine on her.
Yeah, any amount of equipment. There's a bunch of, I'm sure, Vampire Lords as well that make them bigger. But that's pretty cool. I like the fact that you get something back from your graveyard, so it seems like great redundancy, especially like you said earlier, there's going to be board wipes against vampire decks.
Yeah. Honestly, to make this type of effect powerful, Sun Titan-y type effects, you don't actually need to increase the CMC of what you're getting by very much. Even just getting small things back and attacking a few times is often enough value, and you're kind of virtually tutoring if you make your graveyard big enough. It's not just that you're getting a thing back, you're choosing what it is, and you have a lot of choices. So that seems powerful. Usually the lead singer is who you want to run as the commander of the Precon out of the box, but not always the case, and these are kind of close in what they want, so it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, they both work really well with each other as well.
Yeah.
So...
Okay, so those are the 2 new legendary creatures, and then there are 8 new cards that are cards that go in your 99. They're not legendary. They can't be the commander. Let's go through those.
Let's go through them. All right, here is numero uno. It is the Charismatic Conqueror. 1 in the white for a vampire soldier. That's a 2/2, so it's a bear. With Vigilance, whenever an artifact or creature enters the battlefield untapped and under an opponent's control, they may tap that permanent. If they don't, you create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. What? This is kind of sweet.
So it's like an optional blind obedience, but if they take the option of, no, I want it to be untapped, you get a 1/1?
Yeah. And I will say I play against blind obedience a lot, and every time it does tap something down, I go, oh, that is the worst thing that's happened to me in a while, especially if it's like a mana rock.
Oh, yeah.
Like you want to chain some mana rocks together or do something else, like with an arcane signet. Not going to happen. So Charismatic Conqueror is pretty sweet. And if this gets down on turn 2 and just sits there for the whole game, this is the kind of card that may make you like 6, 7, 8, 20 1/1s.
That or really slow your opponents down because, like you said, especially if it's on turn 2 and you're like one of the first players to go, all their 2 mana rocks come in tapped.
Oh my gosh.
It slows you down quite a bit. Also, later in the game, the fact that you often need to play something to block, right? You get in a position where like, oh, okay, there's scary stuff over there, and all I need to do is to stabilize is play this thing. I'll have a blocker, I'll hold up my removal, and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then you're like, no, because the thing you play is tapped. And you're like, oh, crap. In that case, they're going to say, okay, fine, you have the 1/1, but that's good for you because maybe you're not even the one that's threatening them. You just get incidental value because they have to protect themselves.
Yeah, and it's going to... I feel like it's going to happen a lot in the game, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks to play a mana rock and not be able to use it that turn.
All right, the next new card is Elenda's Hierophant. It is a 2 and a white for a 1/1 vampire cleric. Has flying. It says whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on Elenda's Hierophant.
Okay.
And then when it dies, create X 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink, where X is its power.
Okay, so another thing that cares about power, kind of like Carmen.
I mean, this is a lot like just Elenda the Dusk Rose, right? The original Elenda.
It makes sense because it's Elenda's Hierophant.
Yeah. I don't know what Hierophant means. Does it mean same as? Copy?
You're my hero. I fan over you.
Yeah.
I'm your Hierophant.
It means Stan.
Yeah, I think Hierophant is some sort of like purveyor of knowledge of sorts.
It's the keeper of Elenda's knowledge, maybe?
Yeah. It's also a card in like the tarot decks and stuff. There's the Hierophant, and it's like someone that knows of things, I suppose. Maybe that's if that's completely wrong, don't listen to me.
So Elenda the Dusk Rose, I believe, is when another creature dies.
Yeah. You get 1/1 counters.
1/1 counters. And this is when you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on Elenda's Hierophant. And also, it's when you gain life, not put 1/1 counters equal to the amount of life you gained.
Yeah.
So if you gain 10 all at once, you'll only get 1 counter. So you want many small instances of life gain, not a few big ones. And then when it dies, it does the same thing, makes a bunch of 1/1 lifelinkers. And again, I think it's sort of the same as Carmen, where you don't have to pump it from the 1/1 counters it gets. You could also just put things on it that make it bigger, and then...
Yeah.
This
card's pretty sweet. It is a little bit tougher to gain life to get 1/1 counters compared to Elenda the Dusk Rose, which is in the deck, by the way. We can just sacrifice creatures with a sack outlet or whatever. But I still think like it could be a really big flyer, too.
That's true.
After a certain point.
That's true. Elenda does not have flying. Yeah, Elenda wants sack outlets for both its abilities.
Yeah.
Sack creatures to make Elenda bigger, then sack Elenda to get the thing. Elenda's Hierophant wants a sack outlet plus life gain, which are 2 different things. So,
Yeah, it's going to stretch you a little thinner.
Yeah.
But again, like we've already seen with Carmen, there are a lot of 1/1s with lifelink running around. So there is something happening there. All right, next up we got March of the Canonized. It's X white for an enchantment. When March of the Canonized enters the battlefield, create X 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink. Hey.
Okay.
There you go. You got your lifelinkers.
go.
And then at the beginning of your upkeep, if your devotion to white and black is 7 or greater, create a 4/3 white and black vampire demon creature token with flying. Okay, so there's a return of that 4/3 demon that we saw from Clavileño.
Yeah, it seems like once you get enough vampires together, they can do their sinister
thing.
Evil
summoning.
Demon summoning and get a 4/3.
But the lifelink tokens, however, don't contribute towards your devotion to white and black.
That's true. This enchantment does, though. It has 2 white on it.
Yeah, I will say, though, it is kind of tough to get up to 7.
7's a lot.
But even just X white, create X 1/1 vampire creature tokens with lifelink in a vampire deck, is very good.
Quite good, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you'd almost certainly play that. And so the second ability is almost just gravy, right?
Yeah, I think we've seen a lot of these recently, which are X spells that are on enchantments, whether they're like doing damage or like getting rid of giving creatures -X, -X. So this is kind of cool. And of course, we got to shout out Dominic Mayer on the art here.
Yeah, that artwork is amazing. Dominic Mayer is sort of the new it artist, I think, in Magic. His stuff is just awesome, yeah.
So cool.
All right, the next card is Redemption Choir. It's 2 white for a 3/3 vampire cleric with lifelink. And it has Coven. Jimmy, do you remember what Coven is?
3 witches gather around and they look at each other and you're like, are you buffer than me? And the other one goes, I am, but I'm less buff than you.
Know.
It's like one of those.
I was like,
it's like those questions like, is so-and-so is taller than this person, but shorter than that.
This one was shorter than that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do know. Coven is if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers.
Different, okay.
Okay, so it says, whenever Redemption Choir enters the battlefield or attacks, if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So Sun Titan something.
Okay, for 4 mana instead, and it's got lifelink 2 on it.
Yeah. But you do have to meet a criteria. Sun Titan could be the only thing you've got and it doesn't sing.
Yeah.
It
Which
says,
sometimes
Sun Titan!
Sun Titan! There are 3 people in the choir, notably.
That's true, because you need... And there are different sizes.
Yeah, they are different sizes. This seems pretty good. I do think that if you don't have Coven and you have this in your hand, you don't like it. But if you do have Coven and you're going to have 1/1 vampires running around with lifelink, and then both the commanders, I think, have different powers. Yeah, they're both at 2. So this would be the 3rd one.
Yeah, and even if you have a 4/3 vampire, that's a different 2, right? They thought this out.
Yeah.
So you have a 1/1 token, you got the commander, you got this, you can do it. Or if you have a 4/3 demon, the commander, and this, you can do it.
I bet they're singing the song we sang because it's the Redemption Choir. Wow, there's a vampire.
What's your power?
That's pretty sweet, actually, if they're singing that and raising a vampire from the dead.
That's pretty sweet.
This can also get lands, right?
Yeah, exactly. It is that sneaky white ramp. I think, there's now a couple of cards already we've talked about with that, and it makes sort of fetch lands and evolving wilds and myriad landscapes even better than they already were. So,
nice.
Yeah, something to think about.
Okay, cool. Next up, we got the Dusk Legion Sergeant. This is 1 in the black for a 2/2 with a vampire soldier with menace, Menace. It has an activated ability, 1 in the black, sacrifice Dusk Legion Sergeant. Each non-token vampire creature you control gains persist until end of turn.
Oh, now that's another way to protect your board.
Yeah, so if it dies, if it didn't have a -1/-1 counter on it, it comes back with a -1/-1 counter. This is very similar to other cards like Cauldron of Souls, things that have done this in the past. But yeah, that's board wipe protection. On an activated ability, don't need to tap it. You can activate it the same turn you play it.
Yeah, now it won't bring back 1/1s because, well, it will, I guess, and then they get the -1 counter and just die, or does it even bring them back?
Yeah, I think they will come back because they didn't have -1/1 counter, and then state-based effect means they die as soon as they enter.
So you might get another dice trigger or something if that matters.
And there are a couple cards in this deck that like dies and dice triggers, yeah.
And there could be some sack outlets for other cards where this just allows you to sack something and bring it back and even sack it again.
Yeah, totally.
Like, think of Elenda's Hierophant, although that won't work super good because it'll just die immediately the second time and give you 0.
The original Elenda, though, definitely likes it.
It is interesting it says non-token vampire on here because tokens couldn't really work with persist anyway, right? Like, tokens don't come back.
Yeah, it's a good point.
They hit the graveyard and go away.
Maybe they just don't want to flood the board with triggers.
Or they don't want to confuse people.
Yeah, like, wait a minute, it does have, it's going to come back, that 4/3 vampire I just made with Clavileño.
Yeah, I guess technically it hits the bin and you do get a persist trigger, but then there's no token to bring back because the token can't exist in the graveyard, and so I don't know how that works. Okay, we'd have to ask Murph.
This is a Precon environment.
Yeah. Okay. The next card is Master of Dark Rites. It's 1 black mana for a 1/1 vampire cleric. You can tap and sacrifice another creature. Add black, Dark Ritual. Anyone?
Oh.
Spend this mana only to cast vampire, cleric, and/or demon spells.
Oh, so that makes a lot of sense. We've already seen a bunch of clerics talked about today. I think Clavileño is a cleric, and so is the Redemption Choir.
Yeah, but they're all vampires, which you can also do. But you know what is a cleric, Jimmy?
What?
Shadowborn Apostles.
Hey, your white-black deck.
Yeah, I was thinking this is a pretty good card for that because
that's really
you don't care about sacrificing a creature and you want the black to cast 3 more Shadowborn Apostles.
Or a demon.
A good
that's
point.
just sitting in your hand.
Good point.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like this card a lot.
Yeah.
It's nice and it feels balanced. Dark Ritual.
It's definitely fair.
Yeah. Next up, we got the Promise of Aclazotz. It's 1 in the black for an enchantment, but it has a adventure on it. So the adventure side is Foul Rebirth. It's a sorcery, and it says sacrifice a non-demon creature. If you do, create a 4/3 white and black vampire demon creature token with flying. And then the regular enchantment side is 1 in the black for an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice a non-demon creature. If you do, populate. Okay, so there could be tokens on both sides, but the populating means that you could double up that 4/3 that you've got.
Yeah, and that makes sense because if you have a bunch of 1/1 lifelinkers, populating, sacrificing one of them to populate doesn't really do much.
Anything, yeah, unless you want to Dice Trigger.
Yeah, so this allows you to make a 4/3. So now when you populate, you're turning that 1/1 token kind of into a 4/3.
Yeah, that's cool.
Works good with Clavileño as well, since that's another way to get 4/3 tokens on the board. So.
Yeah, and we have so many cards that we've talked about that bring stuff back from the graveyard now, so that sacrificing stuff doesn't seem like a steep cost.
Yeah, maybe you sacrifice Elenda's Hierophant anyway and make a
and then bring it back with Carmen.
All right, there's one more new card. It is called Order of Sacred Dusk. It is 6, a white, and a black. So 8 mana total for a 5/5 Vampire Knight. But it has Convoke. That means your creatures can help cast this spell. Each creature you tap while casting the spell pays for 1 generic or 1 mana of that creature's color.
Nice.
So if you've got a bunch of 1/1 lifelinkers, you could tap 5 of them, and then all of a sudden this only costs 3 mana.
Ooh.
Now, again, it's a 5/5. It has Flying, Lifelink, and Haste.
Okay.
It has Exalted, and that means whenever a creature you control attacks alone, that creature gets 1/1/+1/+1 until end of turn.
Oh.
So if you convoke out and tap all your creatures to cast this for cheaper, you can attack with it immediately, and it would be a 6/6 flying lifelink haste. But it also says other vampires you control have Exalted.
Whoa.
So let's say in that same scenario, you tap 5 of your vampires to cast this for 3.
Yeah.
Then you attack with it. You've got 6 Exalted triggers because this has it and your other 5 vampires have it.
Oh, it's going to be huge.
It's an 11/11.
Flying lifelink haste.
Yeah. So pretty interesting. It's a way to sort of take advantage of having a big board where maybe for whatever reason you can't get it. Like somebody's got a propaganda and you've got 20 creatures and you're like, crap, I can't get in there. But I could pay for propaganda once. So cast this bad boy or girl and then attack for
it's an order. There's
a million
of them in there.
These bad people.
That's sweet. This is also a sweet win con because you're just going over the top. It's like, oh, you can block all my 1/1s. They're not going to be enough to chip in for damage. How about a 12/12 in the air?
And the lifelink, big life swing, right?
Yeah, huge life swing.
So that's interesting. I think it's pretty good if you can get it down to like 4 mana or so.
Okay, yeah. I'm down with it. I like these cards a lot. I think the Charismatic Conqueror is still the one that I'm enjoying the most, the one that is kind of like Blind Obedience but makes you 1/1s.
Mm-hmm. I think Redemption Choir might end up being pretty good because a Sun Titan effect for 4 mana.
Yeah.
If
Sun Titan at 6 does now feel like, oh, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
To get a land back or whatever.
This 4 is pretty good, and this I think could see play outside of just a vampire deck too, where
totally.
If you're playing a deck, maybe it has partners, you've got Rogue Rock or something in there, and all of a sudden it's pretty easy when you cast this on 4 to have 2 other powers already. Because man, 4 mana, get fetch land back out of your graveyard and then attack the next turn and get something else.
Yeah,
that same
sweet.
fetch land maybe, pretty great.
Yeah, I think a lot of these actually are pretty playable outside of vampire decks, which is great. Like March of the Canonized, if you just want to make a bunch of 1/1 lifelinkers, I'd be down.
Yeah. Okay. That is all of the new cards in the deck, but that doesn't mean we're done. We are still going to talk about the breakdown of the deck, what's inside, the reprint value. We've had some ups and downs this year.
We have.
We've had some decent reprint value. We've also had some reprint value. Commander Masters that made people a little bit upset.
Is your cough okay? You said 2 full words when you coughed. That was wild.
So where does this fall on that continuum? Are we going to be happy or are we going to be frustrated again? We're going to find out right after we come back from these messages from our sponsors.
Greetings, I am Tivit, Seller of Secrets, and this is my new and improved Seller of Secrets. How did I expand my business so vastly, you ask? Information comes at a price, but I'll give you this clue for free. I use Shopify, the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From their in-person POS system to their e-commerce platform featuring the internet's best converting checkout, Shopify takes the riddles out of retail. And for sellers new and old, Shopify can help you grow with miraculous tools like Shopify Magic. My most treasured secret is their built-in marketing system, which helped me spread word of my mysterious wares. It put my business on the map. which naturally meant I had to change locations. But whether you operate from a cellar or a skyscraper, Shopify can support your success, just like they do with millions of entrepreneurs across 175 countries worldwide. The evidence is clear. Businesses that grow with Shopify.
Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/TCZ, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/TCZ now to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/TCZ.
Late night at the command zone. Josh searches tirelessly for new employees.
Okay, I gotta read resumes, check all the job sites. This is gonna take hours. I know, I'll find someone to do the hiring for me. Wait, but how do I hire them? This is indeed a conundrum. That's it! Indeed! The platform where I can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Their powerful hiring platform has tools that can help me find qualified candidates fast. I'll be shown resumes that meet my requirements immediately after I sponsor a post. Then, people I invite directly are 3 times more likely to apply than if they had just seen us in a search. Yes! I can finally join more than 3 million businesses worldwide using Indeed to hire great talent! I am a genius!
Josh okay?
Oh yeah, he does this all the time.
Start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/CommandZone. Offer good for a limited time. Claim your $75 credit now at Indeed.com/CommandZone. Just go to Indeed.com/CommandZone and support the show by saying you heard about it on this podcast. Indeed.com/CommandZone. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. All right, my new deck list is complete. Now, let's see which cards I don't already own and buy them.
Wait, how'd you do that without going through a million boxes?
Oh, I just use ARCHIDEKT. They make it super easy to upload and manage your collection. Then, when you're done brewing a deck, you can sort it by collection status to see what you already have.
So this group is just cards you don't own?
Yep, I just click buy this stack, and it takes me right to Card Kingdom.
Whoa.
ARCHIDEKT is the best place to browse, brew, and playtest commander decks. Just go to archidekt.com/CommandZone to get started.
That's ARCHIDEKT.com/CommandZone.
Welcome back, everybody. We are discussing and revealing the Blood Rites Precon from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan.
Those are my fangs.
Are you like obligated to hiss when you have fangs?
Evidently, because every vampire movie, some vampire at some point does that.
Yeah, but they could also not.
Yeah.
Right? Like at some point, someone would be like, "Hey,
are you a vampire or
that's
a cat?"
kind of dumb.
Yeah, I got confused.
All right, now it's time to break down what is happening inside this deck. We've gone down into the gutters, or the Lost Caverns, I suppose, and we've analyzed all of
The gutters.
Stats. They have stats in the caves as well. It's just a universal
Stats
thing.
hiss.
Stats.
That's for the snake deck later. Yeah.
That's right. There's a snake deck. They hiss too.
Yeah,
Are you a
there's
snake,
not a snake
cat,
deck
or
in Lost
vampire?
Caverns of Ixalan, yeah.
I guess you could be, you could be all three. It'd be a crazy creature. All right, let's talk about the Blood Rites deck stats. We have 9 cards in this deck that ramp. Very good.
Pretty good. We usually want about 10, maybe 12.
I'd probably put more in here
Yeah.
because it's white-black and you just need the help. You have 10 sources of card draw. That's excellent. But that would also increase that too if I had the choice. 8 pieces of targeted interaction.
Pretty good.
And this is white-black, one of the best removal colors pairings in the game. 3 board wipes, which is a little bit more than they usually do.
So it feels a little high since you want to go wide, but it might be that because of the fact that you have dice triggers you're adding,
Yeah.
and you can protect with this persist thing that,
Yeah.
maybe it's a situation where wiping the board
Is good.
is kind of good for you, yeah. Your
Yeah.
stuff wants to die, that kind of stuff, yeah.
And then finally, 37 lands, which is like way too many. I'm just kidding. It's perfect.
It's pretty good, yeah, pretty good.
That's what you want.
That selling looks pretty good. I think ramps slightly low and maybe at 1 or 2 targeted removals we'd want up, but I mean, it's right in the it's in the range. It's in the range,
It'll
yeah.
do the thing, yeah.
All right, deck specific stuff. This is a vampire themed deck, so how many vampires are in the deck? 36.
Okay, that's a lot.
That's a lot. We say this all the time, but just to reiterate, when we are centering our deck around a theme, we usually like to see around 30 of that in the deck. So if it's an elf deck, we want around 30 elves. If it's an artifact deck, actually artifact decks usually have like 50 artifacts. But in general, like if it's an instants and sorceries deck, you want around 30 instants and sorceries in it. And so there's even above that, which is great. Because if your deck can function and you've got way more of your theme, it's just better.
Yeah, you're totally fine.
There are 23 Vampire Matters cards in the deck. A lot of the vampires also care about vampires.
Yeah, so there's some overlap there.
Yep. There are 16 dies triggers.
Okay.
So that does go along with the board wipes, I think. If there's that many dies triggers, then you actually want your stuff to die. Then maybe you're happy to board wipe even when you have a big board. There are 8 sack outlets.
8 sack outlets. That seems high. That's great, by the way.
Yeah, those last 2 tell the story that this has got an aristocrat sub-theme.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. There are 11 token makers.
More things to sack.
And then there are 7 attack trigger cards.
Okay.
Which is interesting. Not a main theme of the deck, but that's...
Definitely a sub-theme.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So again, the overall deck contents are 10 new cards, 1 main set card. That means from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, the main set. So it's technically a reprint, but we're not going to count it when we talk about reprint value because we don't know the value of it right now because the cards haven't been revealed.
Yeah.
There are 68 reprints in the deck and 21 basic lands.
Okay. So that's a lot of basic lands.
Yeah, it would be nice to, turn 5 or 6 of those basic lands into some other kind of dual land. But
there's plenty out there to choose from.
We'll see if that hurt us in the reprint section, which we're about to get to.
All right, so reprint value. So again, as always, this is the reprint value at the time that we record the episode. Obviously, once the deck gets revealed and people know what's in it, prices are going to fluctuate and change. And as always, these numbers are not taking into account the new cards, like the 10 we just talked about today, because again, we have no idea what they're going to be valued at.
They have not been revealed. The world doesn't know they exist, so we can't.
Well, now they do.
Oh, that's true. That's true. They're probably already up on Card Kingdom with their price.
That's a good point.
But we just, in the past when we're recording this, can't see that.
Yeah.
Okay. For context, keep in mind, first of all, it appears that the Lost Caverns of Ixalan Precons are going for about $40 online.
Oh, okay. All right.
So you can find it for around that price. They don't release MSRP anymore, so we just kind of have to average out what we see out there, and that's what we see. So let's look at the last few sets before we get to this, just for comparison's sake. So the average Precon reprint value of the Lord of the Rings decks, this is if you added up all the reprint value and then...
averaged it.
And then, divided by 4, was about $126.44.
Okay.
Commander Masters was $152.06.
But if you all remember, our disappointment here is that these were twice the price of usual precons. They were pre-selling for a lot.
Yep.
And so
it's almost the equivalent of if it's worth $76 rather than $52, right?
Yeah. Which is awful. It's also a reprint set, so it was definitely a little disappointing.
I mean, a lot disappointing. Wilds of Eldraine, the average was $112.90, so $113 or so.
Okay.
Doctor Who was $110.17.
Okay.
So I'd say above 100, we're generally happy with. It's when we get into the 90s that we start to be disappointed, and if anything's in the 80s, it's pretty bad. That's why Commander Masters is like the worst we've seen if you count it at half its value, which is 76. So I'd say anything above like 110 is good.
Yeah.
Anything above 120 is very good. So what is Blood Rites, Jimmy?
It is an astounding $160. What? This is the highest average reprint value this entire year. It's beaten every other single set of precons, regardless of what their shelf price was.
Yeah. And we don't have these stats in front of us, but from recollection, I think it would beat last year and the year before. It might be one of the highest numbers we've ever seen.
Ever, yeah.
160 is nuts.
Yeah.
Especially considering the price tag is $40. So this is very, very good.
Yeah, there's a lot of sweet cards in here. And just based on the stuff that we talked about, it's not all vampire stuff either, which is cool.
Yeah. So, there's another way we've been sort of stating the reprint value. Rachel came up with this because of the fact that Commander precons fluctuate in price.
Yeah.
They haven't standardized, like they always cost this. Different sets cost different amounts. I think Lord of the Rings was a little bit higher on the cost as well.
So the average precon reprint value is actually hard to determine what the real full value is because, again, the prices that you're buying for are different.
Yeah, for comparison's sake, it's just tough to tell when the prices of the things are different by this reprint value. So Rachel came up with this bang for your buck, which is basically a number that tells you for every $1 you spend, about how much in reprint value do you get back. So when you look at it through that lens, Lord of the Rings, for every $1 you spend, you get about $2.53 in reprint value back.
Gotcha.
Commander Masters, you get about $1.90.
Oh, so that's a big difference there.
Yeah, quite a bit lower. Wilds of Eldraine, $2.82.
Okay.
So it's actually higher than Lord of the Rings, even though the Wilds of Eldraine decks averaged out to less reprint value because you paid less for the Wilds of Eldraine decks.
Compared to the Lord of the Rings one, which are very hot, yeah.
Doctor Who, you get about $2.20 back. So that one's on the low end of value. Remember, these reprint values don't take into account the value of the new cards, and the Doctor Who decks had a lot more new cards. They usually had like 30, whereas like, for instance, Blood Rites only has 10. So the reprint value is naturally going to be higher in decks where there are more reprints, just total number of reprints. So.
And we take it at the time too, because people later on may be like, oh, I really like the alternate arts that are in Doctor Who, and those will make the price go up. But again, at the time of recording the episodes.
So the Blood Rites deck is, for every $1 you spend, $4 of reprint value back. So very, very high on this scale for sure.
There's not even a single one of these that broke $3, and this broke that into the $4 range.
Yeah, kind of nuts.
Yeah, that is really nuts. This is very uncommon, so it's kind of cool to see this happen.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see the other 3 decks, and if this is an anomaly or all of these are high on the reprint value. Because
there's just a lot of treasure on Ixalan.
Yeah. You've been saving that one up. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now where does this reprint value come from? I would hope it would come from a number of high value reprints rather than a bunch of mid-level reprints. And that is kind of what we see. We're going to talk about the notable reprints here, and these are the cards that are worth $5 or more.
Yeah, and this time around there are 6 of them. Usually there's only just a few. So let's start off with the big hitter. It's Exquisite Blood. A big combo piece, obviously very good with decks that are gaining life, and it is a $35 card at the time of recording.
Yeah, that's crazy. It is a card that people like a lot. It does obviously combo, but it's good on its own as well.
Yep.
$35. I didn't realize it was quite that high.
Yeah.
But
not anymore.
Yeah. As soon as we just said that, it went down in price, of course. But we've both said for years, there's no earthly reason why these precons can't always just have like a $25 card in there.
Yeah.
So this is great. I wish they would do this every time.
Yep.
The next card is Elenda, the Dusk Rose, which we did mention earlier. It's a $13 card at the time we're recording this.
Yeah, it was only printed in the original Ixalan, I think, and it's obviously very good in Vampire decks, so that's up there. Next up is a card that has seen a ton of play because it's one of the best creatures in the world you can sacrifice. It's Bloodghast.
Yep.
So that's been going for $11, and that's just a great card. That card goes in so many different decks.
Yeah, good value piece, a good combo piece as well.
Yeah, totally.
The next one is New Blood. Also $11.
Better than the old blood.
Hey, hold on.
Whoa, wait, oh, shoot. That's us, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, crap.
We're not young bloods no more.
Next up is Pact of the Serpent, a good type spell. It's $6.50.
And then the last card over $5 is Twilight Prophet, $6.
Okay. Love that card. That card's sweet.
Yeah. This list is kind of crazy because I would say generally precons, when we do this, there's one card maybe that's above $10.
Above 10, yeah.
Like we could expect Bloodghast, and then everything else. Maybe there's 2 or 3 other cards, but they're in the $6-7 range.
Yeah.
This has 4 cards above 10. One's 30. I mean, geez, I don't think we could really ask for more. This just seems like, the best reprint value we've ever seen, probably.
Yep. I'm very excited to check out the other deck reveals, and they're all going to be different creators and stuff, so make sure you go and support that content as well.
Yep. And of course, we will do our own precon upgrades for all of the precons, and in the precon upgrades for the other 3 decks, we will do a value breakdown similar to what we did for this one, because you can't really compare our value breakdown to somebody else's because they take the prices at different points and things like that.
Totally.
So we're comparing to our own numbers throughout the years. Yeah. Okay.
And of course, you're going to be able to find the full deck list of this in the show notes. So if you want to see what other cards are in there, because obviously these are the noble reprints, but there are going to be other cards in here that you're like, oh, wow, I really wanted that. So glad it's in here. You can probably predict a bunch of them based on the conversations we've had too.
Yeah, we are going to now read off the remaining reprints in the deck in full. This is something that we just started doing recently and people said they liked. But if you were only here for the new cards and the breakdown and stuff, feel free to take off, or if you just want to click the link and check it out. But also, sometimes there are new artworks and things like that, so we get to show every single card to you, so you can see literally what every single card that is in this deck, what version of artwork, or if there's new artwork or anything. So
and they'll change like flavor text and stuff sometimes too. So
yeah, that's true.
Cool stuff.
Okay, so without further ado, Jimmy, you want to take it away?
We have the first card in the set alphabetically is Arcane Signet.
Classic.
No, obviously.
It was obviously going to be in there, yep. The next one is Austere Command.
That's one of the board wipes.
Yep.
The next card is the card that is reprinted from the main set. So it's going to be a new card for a lot of you seeing it for the first time. It's Bartolome del Presidio.
Yep. So this is technically a reprint, but it is from the main Lost Caverns of Ixalan.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I don't even know what it does. I just see the name on a list.
Yeah, well, everyone that's watching the video can be reading it now.
Probably a vampire.
If you're listening to the podcast, yeah, you can assume it's a vampire.
Okay.
And it's a pretty cool dude because it's Bartolome. It's a sweet name.
Yeah. Del Presidio. What a cool name.
Yeah, that is really cool.
All right, the next card is Blade of the Blood Chief.
Oh, that's a great way to pump up the power of your commanders. Blood Artist. So there is the Aristocrats theme we were talking about.
Yeah, a sack outlet, an Elenda's Hierophant, and Blood Artist, and you're good to go. The next one is Bloodline Necromancer.
It's a vampire. The next one is Blood Tracker.
Blood Tracker.
There's a lot of blood.
Was on Sesame Street, evidently.
Yeah, it's counting.
The next one is a staple in the format, Bojuka Bog.
Ooh, okay. And then after that, a card that is a nightmare for our Game Nights editors. It is Butcher of Malakir. Now, you want to talk about making everyone sacrifice stuff for the Carmen deck. This card is going to get you there.
Oh, wow. It's very powerful, but yeah, causes a lot of cascading triggers that, yeah. I bet if we ask the Game Nights editors, like, list of least five
Top five worst,
least favorite cards to have people play, that would be on the list.
Oh, yeah.
The next one is Champion of Dusk.
Yep, that's a good
classic
one.
vampire card. Yep.
And then you got Command Tower. You expect it.
You always gotta have Command Tower in there, and then after that, you got Commander Sphere.
Ooh, very good. And then we got the Cordial Vampire.
Oh, it's a very nice vampire.
Hello, welcome in.
If our Canadian friends, I think, would say Cordial Vampire.
Cordial, yeah.
Then we have Crossway Troublemakers.
Okay. And then we've got another Aristocrats piece. It's the Cruel Celebrant.
The Celebrant and the Cordial Vampire don't get along.
Yeah.
One's
they're not
cruel,
hanging
one's
out.
cordial, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, what's up, dude?
The next one is one of our targeted removal spells and also one of our board wipes.
Oh, yeah.
It's Damn.
Damn, this card is great.
Yeah.
I love this
Damn,
card.
this card rocks.
Damn, this card rocks. And then we have a vampire that's Drana, Liberator of Malakir. That's another way to pump up your creatures.
Yep. After this is a nice little value piece, Dusk Legion Zealot.
Oh, you're
There you go. There's with the persist.
okay. Yeah, and
you
you're
go.
ready to sacrifice this thing.
Yep.
Next up, we got Etchings of the Chosen.
Nice. I like how you said that.
Yeah.
After that, we have Falcon Wrath Noble.
Ooh.
I can say things cool.
I urge everyone to read this card like 6 times because it is so confusing sometimes when the triggers happen.
It definitely triggers at times when you think it wouldn't. It doesn't trigger at times when you think it would. Yeah.
Next up, Glass Cast Heart.
Okay. After that is Heirloom Blade.
Very good. And then another member of the party. Everyone's having fun here. It's the Indulgent Aristocrat.
Almost everyone's having fun. One creature's not having fun.
Yeah. And then this one's indulging a lot.
Yeah. After that is Isolated Chapel.
Okay. And then we got Kindred Boon. Great for table decks.
Then there's Legion Lieutenant if you want to pump up your vampires. Spoiler alert, you do want to pump them up. You do.
You want to do that. We have the Martyr of Dusk as the next one.
Then it's Mavrin Fane, Dusk Apostle. We have a Dusk theme these last two cards.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And we had the Blood theme. We got the Dusk theme.
It's not nighttime. It's not, afternoon. It is in between those two things.
Yeah, they can only exist for like a very short period of time. And they're like, I'm done. My work's
I
over.
think vampires probably are around a lot at dusk because it's like, is it down? Is it down? Yes. And
Yeah. Or they're like,
but we get a little light.
What is the sun like?
Yeah.
I can kind of see it, but it can't see me.
I forget if the Ixalan vampires can go out in the sun. I kind of feel like they can. Isn't Vona just like on a beach?
Oh, yeah, you're right. They're not like the Western vampire descriptions, right?
Yeah.
Next up, we got Mind Stone.
Okay. Then after that, we have Myriad Landscape.
Okay. And then we have the new upgraded Nighthawk Scavenger.
The
all
new
keywords.
hotness.
Yeah, very cool.
Then we have Oathsworn Vampire.
Very cool. And then a throwback to a classic vampire. It's Olivia's Wrath.
And then we have a bounce land, Orzhov Basilica.
And then we got the Signet, Orzhov Signet.
And then we have Path of Ancestry, a staple in any deck that cares about a certain creature type.
And then we've got Patron of the Vein.
Nice. After that is Radiant Destiny.
Very cool. And then an old school, but a goodie, Return to Dust.
Is it a goodie?
It used to be good.
Yeah, I feel like this is a replacement. It's a little too costly.
For sure, yeah.
After that, we have Rogue's Passage.
Oh, that's a win con.
Yeah, if you want to sneak in some, one big hit of damage, maybe with that Order of Sacred Dusk.
Oh, yeah.
This will do that, yeah.
Sanctum Seeker up next.
After that is Secluded Courtyard.
Okay. And then we have Shine Shadow Snarl, another non-basic land.
And then we have the most powerful card in the history of Magic, maybe, and they put it in this Precon just for you.
Wow.
It's Soul Ring.
Yeah, if you were following along alphabetically, we were going to get there. And we do have one Planeswalker. It's Sorin, Lord of Innistrad.
Sorin,
vampire.
good old Sorin. After that is Swiftfoot Boots.
Great card. And then
did you get that in our drafting equipment episode?
I did.
Nice.
I didn't get Lightning Greaves, but I got my boots.
Who got Lightning Greaves? I forget.
Yeah, this handsome fella to my right. After that is Swords to Plowshares, which does not work against Swiftfoot Boots or Lightning Greaves.
That's a good point. Lightning Greaves not in the deck. Swiftfoot Boots is. I just want to be clear about that.
Yeah, sorry.
After that is Tainted Field.
Talisman of Hierarchy.
Everybody needs a little bit of mana for a little bit of pain. Yep. After that is Temple of Silence, the Scryland.
Everyone needs a little bit of silence. And then Temple of the False God. I guess 37 lands makes sense.
Yeah, and if with enough card draw, yeah, okay.
Yep.
After that is Timothar, Baron of Bats.
Oh, that's a fun one. And then another land, Unclaimed Territory.
Nice. And then another removal spell that was an old school powerhouse, Utter End.
Oh, you can probably also find a replacement to this.
Yeah, it seems 4 mana's a lot these days.
Especially if you're going to be getting so much life, you can do the one that makes you lose 3.
It's good in a Precon environment, but yeah.
Yeah, totally. And still totally playable, by the way. Next up, we got Vault of the Archangel. This is just such a good land in this deck.
Yeah, for sure. After that is Village Rites.
Okay, so here comes some sack outlets.
Yep.
Viscera Seer, another sack outlet. There we go.
Maybe the best sack outlet, non-alter sack outlet.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. After that is Voldaren Estate.
All right. And then we have Vona, Butcher of Magan.
The Vona making, that's an old school Game Nights reference right there.
Yeah, that's Christine Sprankle dressed up as Vona for our episode.
Her cosplay was, not quite as good as ours, but close.
Yeah, we knocked it out of the park.
All right, next is a classic Wayfarer's Bauble.
Which I've seen a lot of reprints for recently, which is fantastic.
Remember when this was a little expensive?
Yeah.
It's not anymore. They've reprinted it a lot. They've done a good job.
Every Precon environment, I think they can put it in, they do. Yeah. Welcoming Vampire, great draw engine, and it's Vampire in this deck.
Welcoming Vampire, Cordial Vampire, maybe even Indulgent Aristocrat are like in the corner.
Yeah.
And they're like talking like about Cruel Celebrant. Like, why is he so cruel? I'm welcoming. Yeah, I'm cordial.
Welcoming Vampire has to welcome everyone, though.
Yeah.
So they're like, fine.
I'll go say hi to him.
Yeah. I'll do it.
All right. Then we have Wind Brisk Heights.
Okay. And then finally, we got one more sack outlet and a great creature. It's a Yahenni, Undying Partisan.
I always forget that Yahenni's a vampire.
Yeah. And a Etherborn, at the same time.
All right, and then there are 8 plains and 13 swamps.
Okay.
So those are your 21 basic lands.
Yep, very, very cool.
All right. That is the entirety of the deck. You have now heard it. You have now seen it. Jimmy, what are your initial impressions of this deck?
I like it a lot. I've never built a vampire deck. I've just been beaten to death by Edgar. Yeah. And this is just 2 colors without red, sadly. But it seems like it's a really powerful deck based on just the cards we've read. And 8 sack outlets makes it seem like you're going to be taking a lot of game actions and then always sort of doing stuff, which is great.
Yeah, that's how I read the stats too. And looking at the cards is I think you're going to have a lot of different angles of attack, which is nice.
Yeah.
You will be able to go wide, it seems like, but you can also probably go tall with the demons. Mm-hmm. And then you probably have some lines of play with the sack outlets out to really do some complicated sequencing and cool stuff that I think, more veteran players will like. So there feels like there's something there for everybody. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to play. And also a creature-based deck that won't fold to board wipes, right?
Yeah, that's big.
Because it's kind of built to die, and even you might want to wipe sometimes. So yeah, I like that too. Because it always feels bad to play a deck that's very like permanent and creature-based, and one board wipe, and you're like, okay, I'm not playing Magic until somebody wins this.
Yeah, I think actually out of all the new cards, I can find a place for at least 5 of them in my current decks too, which is always a good sign. Because I love buying precons, playing them for a little bit, and then taking them apart. Yeah. And not wasting. And I saw a lot of cards in the other non-new cards that I'm like, I definitely could put a Viscera Seer in one of my decks.
Very cool. All right, to the listeners, what do you think about this deck? Are you excited about it? What new cards are going to slot perfectly into your existing Commander decks? Let us know in the comments on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that.
No, we just decided we're going to call it Twitter forever.
Yeah, I'm just glad that Twitter.com still works.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to type X.com. And
Oh, I didn't even think about it.
Also, you know
what if it doesn't work? Oh.
Yeah. Also, I really like saying like, just like X and Y and Z and like as replacement words. And now every time I do it, I'm like, someone might get confused. I'm talking about X. Oh, no.
It's crazy. You invented a word and a brand that people refer to as like a verb and stuff and then decided, no, we don't want that. So many brands on the planet would kill for that. And you're like, nah. It's so weird.
Yeah.
All right. A brand that we're not like, nah, Instead, we're like,
Yeah.
It's cardkingdom.com/commands.
That's it. That's the whole endorsement.
Yep.
Just go there.
Yep.
No.
We're not like now. We're like, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're like us, you're going to buy these Commander Precons. Card Kingdom is a great place to do that. You're going to buy a bunch of the singles you want from Lost Caverns of Ixalan.
So many.
Card Kingdom is a great place to do that. And the great thing is they have a huge inventory. If you're building new decks around any of these commanders or the backup singers, the backup quarterbacks. I was like, I made a joke earlier. Then Card Kingdom is a great place to do it because you often add 67, 85, 90 cards to your
You'll cut later.
You're going to cut them later, yeah. And then the great thing about Card Kingdom is you hit checkout and it's not like 20 different little vendors are going to send you packages that are going to trickle in over the course of a couple of weeks. Card Kingdom is going to get it to you all at once in one package, and then as soon as you get it, you can sleeve it up and you can play already.
Yeah,
so
that's where it's at.
cardkingdom.com/command.
And don't forget to check out our new TikTok account. No dances yet. Big emphasis on yet.
Yeah.
Maybe major emphasis on
I
yet.
think they should just take us singing "The World Is a Vampire" and put that on TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't even think we're monetized on TikTok.
And then people are going to be like, how do I unsubscribe
yeah,
from something
they're
I
like,
don't even
my
follow
ears
yet?
are bleeding. That's the whole point. We're vampires.
Or
we
vampires.
want you to bleed.
Oh, that's perfect. Drink from the fountain. You can find the link for that in the show notes below. And of course, you can also find the link to ultrapro.com/command if you're too lazy to type it into your browser bar. That is the place to go if you want to buy any of the game accessory products that Josh and I trust our own collections to. Again, Lost Caverns of Ixalan has some of the coolest art, and the art is on playmat, and it really just jumps out at you. So whether it's a playmat, a wall scroll, deck box, sleeves, you name it, Ultra Pro's got it. They also just have the normal basic stuff if you just want a single color. They have the satin tower deck boxes. I just love those for traveling. We trust Ultra Pro to make the best stuff on the market, and you can trust them too. Just go on to ultrapro.com/command and check out their amazing inventory.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And big thanks to our amazing team here at the Command Zone, who is Damon Lenz, Eric Lem, Megan Yip, Gaurav Galati, Jordan Pridgeon, Jamie Block, Arthur Meadowcroft, Manson Lung, Josh Murphy, Jake Boss, Sam Waldo, Evan Limburger, Katie Cole, Mitch Trafford, and Rachel Weeks.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Get out there and get these precons. They're sweet.
Well, yeah. And hit subscribe if you're not already. We're going to be talking about the Lost Caverns of Ixalan for
a bit.
A few more weeks. We're going to cover most of the cards in this set, so stay tuned.
All right, bye, everyone.
Peace.
Thank you for your attention. For further inquiries, send an email to commandcast@rocketjump.com or ask us on Twitter @JFWong and @JoshLeeQuai. See you later, alligator.
Greetings, humans.